This is Corey G, the Come Up Story, and today we're reporting live from Coral Gables, Florida, out here with my good friend Raul Bolufe. We're at his headquarters for Capital Rise Investments, and this is episode 001 of the Come Up Story Lifestyle Podcast, where once again I'm sharing my personal journey of going from a six-figure young hustler and scaling to a seven-figure enterprise and becoming a high-level CEO, just like you see on the wall. And so the intention with the podcast is to drop as much value as possible, like we're doing today with a high-level operator, real estate investor, Raul. So we're going to get into a little bit of his story today. Drop major game, doesn't matter where you are at in your journey. You're going to have some major takeaways today. And, got a special gift and surprise from my boy Raul. Been rocking with him for quite some time, so make sure you stay tuned till the end of the podcast so you can see what I got my guy. And so here we are today, and let's jump right into it. And so Raul, man, pleasure to be here with you, brother. And just like the beautiful sign says, CEO 00000. Let me start with that, brother. Well, first and foremost, introduce yourself to the people for anybody that may not know who you are. We'll start there.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. Well, good. Thanks for having me on. This is really cool because definitely full circle. I'm sure we'll get into it, but me and Corey, I mean, we've been at it for a minute, and I know you used to come to my meetups like 3-4 years ago, and you always dress sharp. It was look good. So to see you here doing your own podcast, doing a bunch of deals, it's excellent, man. So congratulations on that, which is really, really cool. But born and raised in Miami, kind of been a hustler since the beginning. I was a really shy kid in high school. wasn't the most social kid. And then once I finished high school, I started working. My father had a car dealership down here in Miami, like a used car dealership. And that was my path. I was like, okay, I could go work there. And he put me to start washing cars. So I'm like, I could work there. I could work my way up. And then maybe one day I can own it. And, it makes good money. And that's kind of like what I had in mind. I didn't think much of it. And after working there for a couple of years and going from washing cars to selling cars and doing finance and all this stuff, I'm like, man, this is not for me. And all those car salesman things of sleazy, this, that, it could be true. And it just wasn't for me. And I knew there was something more for me. And I would always see that the people that were buying luxury cars, the people that had time off, the people that were really doing what they wanted in life were revolved around real estate. They were either realtors or they owned properties or they were flipping properties, something around properties. And I'm like, that's what I got to do. So, man, just one day, I looked it up on my iPhone, right? Like all of us do nowadays, right? And I looked it up on the podcast. I used to listen to economic podcasts back then because I studied economics in college, and I sucked at college. So to help me pass tests, I would listen to podcasts, but it didn't work. I still got a 1.8 GPA. But anyways, I found a real estate podcast. It was Sean Terry's Flip to Freedom podcast.
Shout out to the GOAT.
Yeah,
Sean
man.
Terry.
He's the best. So I listened to his podcast. It kind of got me involved, and I. After 2-3 months of trying it while working at the dealer, still kept my job and trying it. After 2-3 months, I quit and I just said, I'm doing this full time, whether I know how to do it or not. I still hadn't even done a deal yet, but I quit.
You quit the
I quit the dealer, yeah,
with the dealer,
the family business.
Okay.
I quit that and I said, hey, Dad, nothing, nothing with you. I just need to do my own thing. He was supportive, and after a couple months, got my first deal, and never looked back after that. Now we're almost 10 years later.
Wow. 10 years in the game, and I
Yeah,
love
it's
that.
crazy, right?
Love that, man. So, just kind of digging in a little bit into that kind of origin story, what I like about that is that, you was kind of either raised with more so of that, hustler mentality or maybe entrepreneur type minded from the very beginning, whereas some other, kids growing up, their parents aren't in that position or they might not know better. And hell, that's what it is with society right now. The high school and colleges is we're being trained from day one to either stay average or be an employee, quote unquote, employee mentality. But it seems kind of like you had a little bit different kind of path with the opportunity to work at the family dealership. So did you kind of gain any principles there that you learned early on as far as employee mentality versus, business mentality.
Yeah.
Did that kind of help your journey a little bit at the beginning?
Yeah, so I'm extremely fortunate that, I mean, look, I grew up pretty poor, right? Till I was like maybe 10, 11 years old or 9 years, something like that, right? Like my father came from Cuba, my mother came from Puerto Rico. They had no money. My father worked at McDonald's and kind of worked his way up. My mother as well helped build a lot of things in the dealership, and then she started her own businesses, and she's successful in her own. He's successful in his own. So like, I was very fortunate that kind of growing up, kind of poor until, almost like in my teen years, and got to see the change in what happened with my parents. But there's a lot of things to that, because a lot of people have that advantage that their parents own businesses, or maybe their cousins or their uncles and stuff.
They kind of have some proximity.
They have some proximity to it, but I think the key for everyone to take away is that you have to take advantage of it. Or if like, maybe it's not your parents that have it, maybe it's your grandfather, maybe it's your uncle, maybe it's like an aunt, maybe it's a cousin, some family member. If they have their own business and you see like, you like how they do business, or you find interest, take advantage and go like hang out with them and do that. So I think the big thing was I just took advantage. Like since I could remember, I would go either against my will or for my will. But when I was there at the dealer, or when I was there at the business, I was like watching, I was observing, I was there. I would sit in the meetings, I would sit in the sales room, I'd be there, right? I wouldn't just like hang out on my phone. Like, although I was a kid, I would do some of that, but I really would like be mindful and take advantage. So I think it was a huge influence. It helped me a lot. For sure. I took advantage of it, which is something I think everyone should do. I think there's someone near you in your family or in your friend group that you can get close to and do it. Like just do it. It helps you greatly. Like some of the principles I took away were the work ethic was huge. I remember seeing my old man, he'd get up at 4 a.m. to, go buy cars in an auction in Orlando. We live in Miami, and then go to the dealer after, right? He'd go drive up there, take a plane, right? A flight, the Spirit airline, fly up there in the morning, buy cars, fly back down, go straight to the dealer, get the cars, have people wash it and go sell them and work with salesmen. So I learned a lot of work ethic, and I learned my first lessons about sales, communication with people, reading people. I learned my first lessons of marketing, how many people came into the dealer, why, what TV ads were we doing, things like that. So tons of principles I learned. I would say a big chunk of them were applicable to wholesaling real estate and real estate. Not all of them, and a lot of them I kind of didn't like and didn't want to apply.
Learn,
but it was very good to have that. And I think anyone who has the proximity or has someone, friend, family, go and spend time with them. Just go and hang out for free, or just go take lunch for the whole office and just hang there for the day. Like, they don't have to be your parents for you to take advantage of it. I was fortunate it was, and many of you watching this might be fortunate as well. Take advantage of it. I had so many friends in high school. I went to like a little Catholic private high school. So many friends in high school that had great parents that like ran massive businesses, and they just wouldn't take advantage. They would just kind of like let it go by. So there was a lot of things I learned, and that helped shape, my mindset of, doing wholesaling, starting the business, then going from 6 figures to 7 figures, and then, running my own team, and, the fears and all these types of things, like
kind of laid the foundation.
Yeah, laid a lot of the foundation for sure. Dialing untouched leads. So basically we use a system called Smartphone to get all the leads. Like we put all of our leads that go in there, and it's a dialer. And then right now he's on Smartphone, and we have a folder that's all untouched leads, like people that haven't answered. So that's who he's calling right now. Okay. So basically he's trying to get leads on the phone from our marketing, and then get them on the phone, and we do a 10-step like one call script, the first call, and then we pass it over to our closers that they'll do the offer call.
Okay.
And then if the people accept our offer, then they'll do a contract review call themselves. So
nice.
Brother
So
Wayne,
fortune is in the follow-up, huh?
Yeah, it's in the
Nice,
follow
bro.
up and just putting in the work.
Brother Wayne had his best week last week. He got
What?
got 3 deals last week. Woo. Brother Wayne.
Man, congratulations on that, bro.
Thank you. It has to keep going.
Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Strong, man.
I'm hungry.
You learned intangible skill sets that they don't teach us in school, right? Sales and marketing, work ethic, discipline is kind of what I took away from that. So I love that, man. And just kind of one other question before we move on from that. Do you feel that it took courage to kind of actually step away from maybe a sure thing and kind of working yourself up within that business and saying, hey, maybe this is not for me. Let me just step out on my own and kind of build my own enterprise. You know, what was it that gave you the inspiration or, man, the courage to kind of steer away from something that seemed like had a foundation and kind of had like an upward trajectory that you could have stayed there or go do your own thing, kind of speak on that kind of mentality?
That's a really like valid question for today, for today's society and everything going on, because I actually just made a video about this, because like everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, you know, but there's things in the way that get you there. Number one, it's not all that it's meant to be all the time, you know. But anyways, so it's so weird, because I think that for me, it didn't seem like a big risk, because like I just didn't accept not living the life I wanted to live. So let me explain. So I remember sitting in the dealer on a Sunday. I want to say it was a holiday. I can't remember what holiday it was. It was Sunday, and I had to go work, because Sundays were the best days.
That's the thing about automotive industry, man. Weekends, holidays,
Weekends are
you're
good.
there.
And it was Sunday, and I was tired. I'd worked a lot. I hadn't sold many cars. I'm like, man, I can't be living like this. Like, I was a young guy. I was 19, 20. So like, what did I know? But like in my mind at that moment, it was so real to me. I'm like, I can't be living like this, you know? Like, I want to have Sundays off, and I still want to make money, and I still want to do well. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't know. I didn't think of it so much of like, I needed inspiration to go do the next thing. It was just like, I didn't accept that in my life anymore. I just didn't accept it. I was like, this is not going to be the way I live, period. And then I'm like, okay, what's my best way to get there? Shit, I know this real estate thing. Everybody buying the nice cars here is into real estate.
Yep.
I don't want to live like this. This is pretty cool. Let me just jump into this. You know, like, I know some people don't have it. You know, some people don't think of it that way, but I think being naive and being young and being stupid like I was, like I still am, you know, like helped a lot. So I think that's what helped me. You know, I was just like, I knew that I didn't want this where I was at. And my pain was so high that I didn't want to do it again and again. I just jumped into it. I didn't really think of the consequences, which might have been irresponsible, but it ended up working out.
Man, I love that, and I salute that. And, you know, that goes for anybody that may be listening, you know, whether you're stuck in a W-2 or in a career path that you may not be too happy with. It's just kind of like Raul said, just have the inner reflection and make the decision that, hey, man, I know this isn't for me. I have this entrepreneur bug in me. Let me take the leap of faith. And it sounds like that's what you did, and you took the risk to make it happen without really thinking too much about it. So I love that, man. And so, you know, switching gears into, you know, the journey into real estate. So you mentioned you listened to a podcast by Sean Terry. So, you know, if you could, you know, backtrack, you know, 9-10 years, you know, talk to us a little bit about that first year in the business, man. You know, from you kind of hearing the concept of real estate wholesaling or just being a real estate investor. You know, did you think it was real? Kind of what was that kind of first year kind of like as you kind of got your boots on the ground?
Definitely. Like, I think the main thing is I wanted it to be real. So like, it was very real to me, but I remember it clearly. It was a episode he had, probably still on there. It's called the 5K formula. I think he even has a course around it or something. But anyways, it was the 5K formula. It was how to make 5K in 30 days or 50 days. I can't remember exactly, but he was talking about sending direct mail to homeowners that might be looking to sell, and then they call you, and then you go on an appointment and you go see the house and you sign a contract at like, you know, 60% off, something like that, right? Which is like wholesaling. But I remember very clearly that I was in the car in front of my, you know, my girlfriend at the time, in front of her house. I didn't get down, right? Like I drove up, I was gonna like pick her up, or I was going to her house or something, and I parked and I was listening to this podcast, and I just stayed in my car because it wasn't over. And I stayed, I'm like, wow, could this be real? Like, could I really send mail and this and get this paper signed and then make 10,000 and could this be real? Like, I really wanted it to be real. So in my mind, it was real. And like that night I went and I, you know, put some money on a credit card and, you know, some mailers on a credit card and everything.
Wow.
That same night. And, you know, kind of like the journey, it started there. That was like what piqued my interest. I started sending mail, but then like, actually, I bought them from a wholesaler. They bought 3 apartments from a wholesaler. And I'm like, oh crap, can you connect me to him? Because this is what I want to do. That's when he connected me to Jim, which is a local wholesaler down here, like, you know, an OG, great guy, Guy's a beast. Does a ton of deals. Awesome guy. He knows everybody in Miami. He's the best. So
Shout out to JVD.
Yeah, JVD. So
the OG.
So he connected me with Jim, and I called Jim. I said, hey, Jim, I just learned about this wholesaling thing. You know, my mom and Ariel, they just bought these properties from you, things like that. He's like, well, I'll teach you, but it's like $5,000. I'm like, ooh, I didn't have any. Like,
Had you even closed a deal at this point, or?
No, I didn't close anything.
Okay.
This was like, a week of just thinking in,
Yeah.
And so I talked to him and I convinced him, like, look, I'm going to be a great student for you. Like, can you help me out? He says, all right, I'll do half now, half later.
Ooh,
So now I'm like, okay, $2,500. Not
Everything's
too hard.
negotiable.
Yeah. I still didn't have $2,500, especially after I just swiped my card for like $2,000 for some mailers,
Yeah.
which I didn't really have. So then Ariel, my stepfather, he said, all right, if you really take this thing serious, I'll lend you the $2,500. You pay him back in your first deal. I said, okay, cool. He wrote me a check.
Nice.
And then like probably the next day or like 2 days later, I'm like, Jim, I'm ready. I drove to where he was at, like in Fort Lauderdale or whatever, and I gave him the check. I said, I'm ready to go. I brought my laptop and I was off to the races, It took me 3 months to get my first deal. 3 months.
Wow. Okay.
Of like, at this point, notice I've already had like 5,000 invested, 3,000 on mailers, 2,500 on this
Mentorship or whatever, yeah.
And I started doing a deal. I'm already kind of quitting the other job, so like I'm all in. I'm just like hoping this shit's real, basically. And but I think what helped is I just got around people that supported me, including my father. My father was supportive, He obviously wanted me to continue there, but he understood that that's what I wanted to do. My stepfather, my mother, Jim, and then other people I knew that were in real estate. My uncle, Giovanni, I would call him a lot because I know he does real estate in Tampa, and I just would talking to them frequently, like getting convinced, like this is where to go, this is where to go. I think that's what helped me a lot. Like that's what helped me get through these first 3 months to get my first deal, and ultimately why I think I did so well my first year. Because I had so much conviction in what I could do. So.
Man, that's good stuff, man. Really great stuff. Sharing that, the conviction, the commitment, and finding just the right people in your sphere of influence to get around, and having the the commitment to even pay for a mentorship without closing a deal. It's different when you get free education on YouTube, but when you take action and write the check for education, it sparks a different fire in you. So I love that. And okay, and so man, if you want to touch base, 'cause I know that's always exciting, and nobody really ever forgets their first deal. Man, can you give us like a quick recap on that first kind of big win that you got after 90 days of being in the trenches? Do you remember that first deal and
I do.
What that looked like? Yeah,
first deal was, at this point I'm all in, so I'm like just like all of us are, like all of us who really take something serious, right? I'm like 20 years old, 21-ish. I think it was around my birthday. So I was 21, so like, what do I know? I know podcasts, I know YouTube. So I started listening to a lot of podcasts, and I found another podcast that talked about texting people from GoSection8.com, which is like Section 8, real estate, things like that. So people who are looking to rent homes. But the listings on there have phone numbers, or they did, and those were the landlords, were typically the owners. But back then in 2013, a lot of people were still selling their properties because the market was like kind of going up. It's still very shaky. So the podcast said, go on GoSection8.com.
Okay.
Put a city. So I put Miami, Florida. And then a bunch of listings come up. And then when you click on those listings, you're going to see the landlord phone number. Get that phone number and text them saying, hey, I know you're renting your place, but would you be interested in selling? So I did that over and over and over and over and over and over. And after like 2 weeks, that's how I got my first deal. Somebody said, hey, I'm not the owner, I'm the property manager, but my landlord says he's interested in hearing an offer. So I said, okay. So I went on Zillow, and I just put 50% of the Zillow value. It was like
simple,
very simple. 120, it was 60, and then I put 60. And he said, okay, but you got to send it to me in a fax. So I said, all right. So I had a fax machine in my house. I sent the fax. And I got it signed back for $61,000. He crossed it off and put 61.
Let's go.
And signed in a couple hours. I'm like, shit. And then on top of that, he actually said, oh, and he has another one if you want to make an offer. So like that same day, I made the offer on the other one, and they signed it back too. So I really got 2 in 1.
Wow.
But what happened was, I got that signed. Then I go on Zillow, and I saw what sold around the property I just got signed. And I saw the yellow dots. I clicked. I found one that sold that looked similar, and I found that it was an LLC, right, online, like a lot of these people teach. And I found that I Googled the LLC, got the phone number, called them, and ended up like selling it to that first person, which was crazy. But
Nice.
but what happened was then the guy backed out of one of them. Actually, he tried to back out of both.
So that same
That's it.
LLC you found wanted both of the deals?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. So my buyer wanted to buy both.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
He, we got into contract to buy both. The seller ended up wanting to back out.
Oh, man.
Lucky
gotcha.
for me was that the buyer was an attorney, and then the attorney ended up like kind of scaring him, and he's like, we settled that. All right, sell this one and you keep one. And that was my first deal. I made $6,000. I remember driving to the title company to pick up the check because they're like, oh, we could wire it to you. I'm like, no, I want to get a check. I want to make sure like this is real. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
I remember dressing up nice. I wore my nice shoes and shit to go to the title company and picked up the check. Like, shit, this is real. I met the buyer. I met, the title agent, whatever. I'm like, shit, this all happened like behind the scenes. It was cool. So that was my first deal. It was a really cool day. It was a good
Wow,
day.
man. Proof of concept, man.
Yeah.
Proof of concept. You know, the beautiful thing about closing your first deal and $6K payday, that's not bad. So,
Yeah,
and I
that's
love that sending contracts by fax.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different era. So, man, love that. And so kind of when you got that proof of concept, man, just by taking action, falling into the deals, how did you continue to scale from there? After that first deal, was you off to the races? Did you decide to go on vacation after that big check? Or, what did that look like as far as, that first year of boots on the
Yeah.
ground in the business?
No, I definitely didn't go on vacation. What did I do after that? So what I did after that was I really started following my mentor Jim's like guide.
Okay.
So this was kind of like off the thing. It was like I was doing this in the background while I was learning from Jim. I was just all in, man. I was just doing everything, right? Everything I could try. But then I started really working with Jim, with my mentor at the time, and I saw that his method was working, which was making offers on the MLS,
Gotcha.
which was doing
Okay.
deals on the market. And so I kind of left everything. I left the mail, which I never made money on that Shantae mail. Not that it was bad. I just didn't know what the hell I was doing. Actually,
Yeah.
I made tons of money in mail in the future. And then like the Go Section 8 thing was just too time consuming. And I'm like, let me just go all in on this. So I just went all in on what my mentor was telling me. And that's what I did. I would go visit him once a week. He'd tell me what to do. I'd go do it like a maniac. I started hiring like virtual assistants very early on
Love that. Yep.
to like help me make offers and respond to emails and stuff. And yeah, that first year I think I did like 44 deals by myself.
Wow. Man, that's
Yeah.
amazing. 44 deals year one.
Yeah, 44 deals year one. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was just I was living in my mom's house. I bought like a little desk in IKEA. I put it in the corner of my room. And then we had a printer downstairs. So if I had to like print a contract, sign and send it back, I'd throw it up and run down, and I'd be in my little thing, and I'd be going to see houses in my car and shit. So that's how it was, man. I was just making a bunch of offers, following what my mentor was saying, making sure my mind was right. Like I was reading a lot. I was buying every single real estate online course I could buy.
Nice.
I spent so much money on those things, but I mean, hey, it paid off. So, and I was just doing everything, bro. I was doing it all. I was just doing it all and making shit happen. That's our office dog here.
Okay, we got the mascot.
Yeah, she's great. She's the best dog ever. I've never heard her bark, not even once. It's incredible.
Let's go.
She's great. Let's see. Then we got Edward over here and Shay.
What's going on, guys?
some
We're just doing
deals.
some behind the scenes footage.
Behind the scenes footage.
Yeah. How you doing, man? All right.
Corey was a student of mine from back in the day. Now he's doing a bunch of deals. He's just started a podcast. So,
Yep.
but yeah, they're doing roughly similar to what Wayne's doing, dialing untouched leads. I think. What list are you dialing? You're dialing
Opti folder.
Opti. So he's dialing like basically old lists because he just started with us a couple days
Okay.
ago. So he's dialing basically like some of the older
Trying to
older
find
deals.
the diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, man.
Okay. So you basically cold calling. So you'll see a lead in there, read through the notes, pick up the phone, and just call the homeowner.
Yeah.
Have a
basically.
conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
See
Exactly.
what his property condition is and see if I can help out in any way.
Yeah.
Nice, man. So is your goal to close a deal or to just book a quality appointment?
I think probably just to book a quality appointment and then pass it off to the great team that we have here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, book.
Okay.
Yeah, book a quality appointment. They put everything on like on our Slack chat. So like,
Okay.
if he gets someone on the phone and they go through the full like script, then they'll put all the notes on Slack, And then at that point, a closer will pick it up and say, I'll do this, and then they'll go and close it. So
Strong.
we can go see
Strong,
what,
man.
let's go
Cool.
see what Kai's doing, one of the closers. Let's see if he's doing it. I think he's doing a call right now, so we'll move in silence.
Yeah.
You want to call?
Yeah, got it, makes sense. Yeah, no,
This is the executive office, huh? Or the closer's office?
Yeah.
yeah.
So Kai right now is doing
No,
a
I figured
offer
I would
call.
at least ask there because it's
And
definitely-
So he's talking to a seller.
he's talking to a seller, trying to make an offer and get a deal accepted right now. And then our dispo guy, Nate, sits right here. So as you can see,
Shout
these
out
are
to
like
Nate.
a bunch of the deals that we've
similar
sold.
to having like I would say
So this is kind of the active deals you guys.
Yeah, kind of. We
A
have
few
a lot,
of them, right?
we have a lot more than that, but like, yeah, these are some of the deals I think we sold last week. So there's that.
That's a big pop right there, 46K.
Yeah,
Very strong. I don't even know where that's at.
it's in New Jersey.
And it sounds like you just went all in and you kept it simple, right? You followed the paths and recommendations of a mentor. You found a marketing channel that worked for you and a strategy and just followed the blueprint to the T
Yeah.
and stayed consistent. I love that. And, you know, progressing in the journey, right, to, you know, the CEO that you are today, I know, you know, from our relationship, you've had kind of different team structures as you kind of scaled out of that young hustler role. Talk to us and to the people that's watching the channel, you know, the progression, you know, your progression of going from that hustler year one, 44 deals. And then, you know, what was it for you that said, hey, I can continue to be a solopreneur, 44 deals in 1 year? Or, you know, when did the light bulb go off to say, hey, let me take this thing to a different level, start building a team and scaling, and kind of what did that look like as far as when you started to structure a team and kind of get to a different level?
Yeah, I think it's almost like similar answer to the first question you asked me of like, what inspired you to like, you know, leave my job to start this? Like, I don't know what it is, man. Maybe I was just like so stupid, but I just like, I didn't think of it so hard. I don't know if that makes sense. So like, I said, okay, if I did like 40 something deals by myself, okay, if I bring more people, I could probably do more. Like, obviously it's very stupid and very simplistic, but this is like the way I thought back then, right? This is what like helped me get up. And then I said, all right, so let me hire like a virtual assistant. That's where I started. And then I'm like, okay, this helped. I did a little bit more and I got more off my plate. I'm like, all right, now let me hire some higher level people. So at that point I hired my cousin, a friend, things like that they were real estate agents. So they helped me get some more deals on the market and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, I think like the light bulb went off when I'm like, if I can do this by myself, I think that I could really help people build something. I could really help people do more deals while I do more deals, like selfishly as well, right? Because you got to help people make money. You know, if you want to grow a team, like the point is, the exchange is, hey, I'm going to provide value to you. I'm going to give an infrastructure. I'm going to give education. And in exchange, you're going to make money and you're going to make me money. So I think that that I just thought of it that way. Fuck, if I could do it by myself, man, if I bring people, we could do it together and I can help them, they can help me. And that's why I started hiring. And, you know, I made a lot of mistakes. I still do, but I started with a virtual assistant, Krishna, which worked for me for 7 years. Krishna and Joe Carr, they're husband and wife in the Philippines. And then they had babies, they you know, vacations, you know, like we're a part of each other's lives for a while, and everything's great. I mean, they just moved on to bigger and better opportunities, which I'm super happy for them. But anyways, I started with virtual assistants, then I started with kind of like friends, family, and then it blossomed to more. Then I got a personal assistant, and then I got some acquisitions people, and then like little by little, obviously I've kind of changed the pieces in the chessboard around a couple times, but I don't know. There wasn't 1 inch of doubt in me that like I was gonna stay a one-man show. Like it wasn't ever a question. It wasn't even a thought. Like never, not once.
Had a bigger vision from the beginning, right?
Yeah,
Like
I don't know.
Power through people.
Yeah, and I think like obviously a big influence was my father, my mother, like having businesses, and I always saw them with teams, and I was just like second nature. Like I was 20, 21 years old interviewing 40-year-old people like nothing. Like I didn't even give a shit. I didn't care what they thought about me. I didn't think of it twice. I didn't give a shit. I just said, I need people, and I don't care if you're old or like, I don't care, you know? So like, and I knew I was helping them out. So I don't know. I guess like the moral of the story is like, just don't think of it so much. Right? If you know that like taking that step is going to get you one step further to getting what you want. Just take it. And then when you get there, you'll see further, right? If you travel a little further, once you get there, you'll see a little further, a little further, a little further. So that's how I approached it, you know. Yeah, that's kind of like what helped build the team. And, you know, then you make mistakes with the team you have. You have wrong pay structures, you have wrong management, you don't know what you're doing. I'm not a leader, I'm not good at these things. You start getting better and better, and then you know, the goal is to be at the CEO level of your own life, even if you're a one-man show, but to be at the CEO level, which means like now you're operating on certain frameworks and formulas instead of emotion and things like that. So that's kind of how it worked out for me.
Love that, man. Love that. And, you know, I'm sure it's been a lot of years in the trenches, just growing and learning throughout that journey. And I'm sure there's a lot to unpack there. But, you know, if you could just kind of highlight, you know, you spoke about some challenges, you know, for somebody that's a real estate entrepreneur or wholesaling, wanting to build a wholesaling business, right? You know, everybody's got different opinions. But from your experience, let's talk about attracting and hiring the right people. So, you know, you looking back at your journey and everything that you've learned, building teams, hiring people, firing people, growing offices, etc. You know, what, in your opinion, is the right kind of first, second, and third hires for a wholesale operation? And what are some best practices to bring people on? What should you be looking, like, what kind of people do you want to bring into your, you know, your atmosphere, your business?
That's a good one. I'm really passionate about this topic. I'm still learning a lot of it soon, by the way. But you know, at this point, we've probably hired, just last year, we hired 132 salespeople. So like throughout the years, probably hired close to 1,000 people and stuff.
Wow.
So I've seen a thing or two my day. I've seen a thing or two. So I think the first hire should be a virtual assistant.
Okay.
Or an assistant. I like virtual assistant because it forces you to put systems in place fast. You know, and even to this day, my personal assistant is virtual. Not because I can't afford a regular assistant, but it forces me to forward think and forces me to be extra organized with her. So I like that. So basically, first hire a virtual assistant.
Gotcha.
Find it on Upwork.com, Fiverr. You know, there's a lot of companies' websites that'll find it for you, right?
Okay.
Then next, it depends on your personality type. So I like this question because, like, let's say it's a real estate wholesale business, real estate investing, right? You're buying properties, you're flipping them, you're wholesaling them. So first you need an assistant to help you do the stupid things like set your appointments and I mean, it's not stupid, but like it's stupid for
The administrative task.
yeah,
Or,
it's stupid for a CEO to do stuff like that. Not that the actual job is stupid, but then at that point it's, what am I good at? Or what do I like to do? Do I like to do acquisitions? Do I like to do dispo? Do I like to do the home buying? Do I like to be on the phones? Whatever you like to do, stick to that, and then hire out what you don't.
okay.
That'd be the simplest way to put it, man. Get an assistant, and then if you're good at acquisitions, stay doing acquisitions.
Okay. Like that.
And then hire the dispo.
Okay.
And then if you're good at, or hire a junior rep to shadow you.
Gotcha.
And you do the top leads and stuff like that. So that's how I do it at this point, man. And then you just got to grow it kind of like, there's obviously a systematic way to do it that, you know, would take quite a bit of time to explain, but ultimately assistant and then hire what you're not so good at. I would recommend always, in wholesaling specifically, the person, like the owner, the CEO, whatever, to stay in acquisitions or closing
Gotcha.
as long as you could.
Like that. Okay.
Because that's where your money's at. So.
Yep. Love that. That's strong. And question number 2 on that, right? You know, with your experience having, you know, hiring, you know, close to 1,000 people throughout this journey, is there any intangible characteristics that you should look for as a business owner when you're sitting in front of a potential candidate for a sales position, whether it's acquisitions, dispositions? I mean, every position you're in sales somewhat. Is there any kind of advice for somebody that's looking to make their, you know, their first hire or their next hire? Any qualities that you want to look out for, personality types or different backgrounds that's a good fit for what we're doing in this business model?
Man, that's a good question. Like, definitely each position has its own traits. For example, personal assistant. You need someone who can get things done without asking too many questions. So you need someone that's a quick start, but you also need someone that's highly organized. Because from what I've seen, an assistant or a virtual assistant, someone that's going to help you with your day-to-day, they need to be more organized than you. So highly organized. Doesn't really matter so much apart from that, but if they're highly organized, that's great. When it comes to acquisitions, I've tried to crack this code a lot, and I think I finally cracked the code
Nice.
of hiring a good acquisitions.
Give us a sauce.
I'll give the sauce here. So we've had personality tests, we've had disc profiles,
Yep.
the whole thing, right? And we've tried hiring in quantities in like classrooms. We've hired 10 people at a time. We've also hired one person at a time. We've done 6 interviews before we hired them. We've hired them on a phone call. So we've done a little bit of everything. And what I've seen, the 2 qualities are that an acquisitions or even a dispo need, like a good real estate salesperson or a good real estate hustler in your business. 2 things. 1, they need to be committed to real estate. They need to be committed that with or without you, they want to be in real estate. Hey, Corey. Hey, Raul. Hey, John, whoever you're looking to hire. The question I have for you, Mr. or Miss, is let's say you get hired here, you don't get hired here. What would you do next? If you don't get hired here, what would you do? Well, I would go try to find another real estate job. Good. That's the answer I want to hear. I want to hear somebody that they're committed to be in the game with or without me. That's 1. Number 2 is that they truly, to their core, enjoy communicating and speaking to people. Because this, forever and ever and ever, will be a business that you have to speak to people. Whether you're doing acquisitions and buying properties, or whether you're talking to investors, whoever you're going to hire in these roles, they need to speak to people. So like those are the 2 things I really look at, and I ask questions in the interviews to get those answers from them. Like, hey, what other jobs are you looking at? Hey, what other people have you like applied to? What would you like to do? Let's say you didn't get hired here, where would you go? Let's say you were to start your own thing, what would you do? And like I'm trying to see, will they be in real estate, or are they looking at real estate and tech, software, are they looking at medical sales? Like if they're really just looking for a sales job, I don't love that. Okay. Obviously you can get great salespeople, but I don't think you'll get the best. The best people that I have in my office now, the best people who have made me millions of dollars, are people who are committed to being real estate. Beautiful. And they love to talk to people. Beautiful. That person that's like, nah, man, I like to just kind of hang out alone, and like, you could be introverted, but there's a difference between being introverted and hating people, right? We all know those people that like just don't like people. Like, oh, I don't like people. I don't like talking to people, and I don't want to talk to these people. You can't have people like that in the business. Not in this business, at least. There's a time and a place for them in different worlds, but not here. So those are the 2 qualities that I believe I cracked the code to finding good people. Those 2 little qualities. And to get really specific on dispositions, the only thing I would change is you want that person to be more operations minded. Okay. Because it's more of a checklist type thing. Obviously sales, we have a 10-step checklist for sales, but dispositions, there's less sales going on. It's more, hey, get the deal, put it on the list, do this. Sales is a little bit more communicative type thing. So those are my little tips for finding that. And it's taken me a couple of years to figure that out, but at least that's what worked for me.
Fire, man. I hope you guys are taking notes on that. And so, I mean, that's what it boils down to, is that yes, we're in the vehicle of real estate, we're dealing with houses, but at the end of the day, we're still in the people business. Yeah. So you got to be able to have the willingness to find somebody that wants to communicate and talk to people, somebody that's committed to real estate. So love that, man. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And, I guess kind of fast forward and get into, telling the people what the business looks like today. One quick thing that I wanted to touch base before we get to the chapter of right now is, let's talk a little bit about maybe some pivots that you had to make along the journey of, shifting the business during COVID. Because I remember, I think at one point you went from having an office to then shifting to the complete virtual model, right? So, talk to us about some gyms, because there's a lot of people. That's the beauty of this business, is that you don't have to have a beautiful office space like this in Coral Gables. You could do this from your mom's basement, right? You could do this from a cubicle, from a WeWork, from anywhere. As long as you got internet and Wi-Fi, you can do this business virtually. And so, talk to us a little bit about kind of some pivots that you made in the business during that time period of COVID, and, some gyms that you learned of going virtual, and what made you actually go from virtual, maybe less overhead and all that, to now building this business here.
So it starts with like the vision, and it's funny, this is probably like my 3rd iteration of this business, like At first I was doing MLS deals only, right? And you know, after that kind of died, and then like I had to get rid of like most of my staff because that's all they knew how to do. And by the time it was time to pivot, I just needed different skill sets. So, you know, got rid of that staff. Well, maybe got rid of is the bad word, but you know, like kind of shifted from that staff, and my team changed and my mindset changed. Then I started doing off market. Then, you know, I hired a, you know, off market type of team, you know, cold callers, salespeople, that kind of stuff. And then, you know, I couldn't figure it quite out in the beginning. So then I had to just like let go of all that. And then that changed. And then that was around COVID, like iteration number 2. The first one was painful. The first one, I'll just talk briefly and then we'll go into the off market. So I was used to doing like 7 to 10 deals a month on the market, like
Nice.
MLS deals, right?
That's nice. That's good volume.
Good volume was nice. It was a good business for me, right? I had a little team, everything was nice. Then like 2016, 2017, when the hedge funds really started buying in South Florida.
When the market really started.
The market started going
more competitive on the MLS and
huge.
retail. Yeah.
I remember it got to the point that I was doing like 1 deal a month. And like to go from like 7 to 10 to 1 is a big pay change, right? And I'm like banging my head trying to figure this thing out and sending more offers and hiring more people, like swimming against the current. And then I had like, my brain was up to here. I was like not doing well with money. And I do what every man does well, and I escaped my problem. And I left to Indonesia, to Bali for a month.
Whoa.
To just kind of like, I don't know, think, figure it out, have fun, etc. And I remember being on the beach there, and my accountant called me, and he told me, hey man, you know, your wholesale business like lost some money, you know? And I'm like, oof.
Oh man.
And I remember at that moment thinking, I have to change. Like it's not the business. It's not the MLS. It's me. Like I'm the idiot. I'm the dumb one, like continuing to swim against this current.
Whoa.
Like it's like that it's like the kind of like the fable or the story of, you know, the drowning in Jesus. Have you ever heard that story? And God. So anyways, there's like a story that goes like, this man, he's like falls off a boat.
Okay.
And he falls off a boat and he's kind of like in the water, like drowning. And then a helicopter comes. It's like, hey, let me save you. He's like, no, you don't need to save me. God's going to save me. And then, okay. And then the helicopter leaves. Then a boat comes. Hey man, let me save you. No, you don't have to save me. God's going to save me. And then like a Coast Guard plane comes like, hey, we're here to save you. No. You don't have to save me. God's going to save me. This guy's like about to drown. Yeah. And then I think he drowns. Oof. And dies and goes to heaven. And when he goes to heaven, he goes to God. God, why didn't you save me? It's like, man, I sent you 3 things. So like when I sent you 3 things to come get you. So like what I'm getting there is when it comes to pivots, right? The question you asked me, and I've gone through it a few times, and it's painful. But at that point, I remember being on the beach there. I mean, luckily it was a pretty good environment, right? Like I wasn't that bad. Like, yeah, I had lost some money, but I made a lot of money in other businesses and stuff. So I was like, fuck, I'm like swimming against the current, and like this is like the world telling me multiple times,
Signs.
Raul, you got to change. Raul, you got to get better. Raul, you have to improve. Raul, like your people are counting on you. Your family, like your wealth, your generational wealth you want to build, like your lifestyle, it's counting on you. And you're here like eating shit, trying to like make this MLS thing work. So anyways, at that moment, I'm like, all right, I got to change. Came back, revamped the whole thing, got to the off market, it worked, and it didn't. Changed the whole thing. I went virtual, right? This is right when COVID happened. 2 weeks before COVID was even a thing was when we went virtual. Wow. It was like complete coincidence.
It was crazy. Perfect time.
It was annoying. You know, we got rid of a bunch of people in the office. There was a lot of negative energy there. Stupid shit. Anyways, it was just down to me. You know, I was used to having a team of at least like 7 to 10 people. And it was just down to me, Lewis, which was my COO at the time, and my assistant. Actually, not even. My assistant had quit. So it's just down to me and Lewis. Damn. 2 of us. Yeah. You know, this is
Scaled down, yeah.
This is 5-6 years deep into the wholesaling business, made good money. I had rental properties, flips, like I've done the thing.
And just for reference, before you shifted down to 2 people at the peak, how many did you have? People?
Probably like 12 people.
12, okay.
The most. Gotcha. I would say I average like 7 to 9 people. And so it's down to me and Lewis. And me and Lewis are back on the phones. I got my headset. I'm in my apartment in you know, downtown. Same thing I have here. I had a treadmill desk, and I was cold calling. I was making offers. I was like literally starting from ground zero again. And I made that pivot because I knew I had to figure out the off market, and I knew the way to do that was to do it. So we started doing text message marketing. We started doing cold calling, hiring cold call centers, and that's the big pivot I made was I have to figure out how to do deals off market, not on the MLS.
Yeah.
And the only way that I did
Direct
it
to
was
seller off market.
direct to seller, and then that's the way I did it. I just let everyone go and did it myself. I said, I'm not going to count on anybody. I'm going to count on me. Lewis was there along the ride, and we helped each other out. And little by little, then it was funny. And Marco's still with me. He's my top closer now. Marco found me through a meetup I did, like a while prior, a couple months prior, and he's like, "Hey, I want to come work for you, whatever." I said, "Okay." I didn't really have an office. I let go of my office. I had my apartment, but my apartment, I didn't want people up there. So my building had like a little office center. So Marco started like working with me, and then like I put on Instagram like, "Hey, I'm rebuilding my team. Anyone want?" And I had a bunch of hits.
Nice.
So what I did was, I got my little office center in the building, and I would just like claim it.
yeah.
I would claim it as mine. I would like walk in there, and then we had like a team of like 6-7 people, morning huddles,
Love that.
all this shit free. Like I didn't rent it.
Yeah.
Until I got kicked out. They kicked me out of the building and everything. But whatever. At that point, we were good. The team was making some money, and we started rebuilding like that. So man, some of the big pivots was I really dedicated myself to learn how to do deals direct to seller, how to do deals over the phone, how to do like the right contracts for off market, how to do the marketing to get deals off market, all that world, like the marketing, the sales, the dispositions, the finance, all that kind of stuff. Like I committed to like learning that. And it was a completely new business that I was used to. So that was a big pivot, man. And, I went virtual for like a year and a half, which was fun. But then ultimately why I go back is vision. Like if you have a big vision, it's hard it's hard. It's not impossible, but it's harder.
You got to keep evolving, right? Or
Yeah.
just pushing forward.
Yeah, it's harder to execute a big vision, completely work from home.
Nice.
My feedback.
And I know one thing that I learned from you is that would you say there's really no right or wrong model? Like you said, what is your personal vision?
Yeah.
Do you want to be virtual? Do you want to be in office? Do you want to have your sales team closing in person, face to face, or do you want to have them closing on the phone? So that's a beautiful thing about this business is that you just get clarity on what you want to build and implement and really master each department like you did, right? Mastering direct to seller, mastering the marketing behind it, the acquisitions, dispositions, the financing, whatever it may be. So love that. And so I guess, pushing forward, let's talk about where we're at right now. I know we could probably talk for hours, but just for, to respect your time and the viewers' time, let's get into, the beauty of where you're at today, man. You came a long way, 10 years in the game. We've scratched the surface today a little bit about that journey, but, tell us about, the CEO lifestyle that you're living today. What does the operation look like today, team-wise? What are you guys doing in deal volume, revenue volume? Just give us the highlights, man. Brag if you want to. The people want to hear, inspiration to get to the next level, man. Talk to us about what life looks like right now for you.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't want to say I love that question. I mean, I do love that question, but every time I answer it, it seems surreal because I remember being, listening to the Sean Terry podcast and sending my first thing of mail and then taking 3 months to get my first deal. And then I was doing like 1, 2, 3 deals a month, now like 2 weeks ago, we did 8 deals 1 week. Last week, 4 deals. So, it's pretty cool. Obviously there's a lot that went from like 0 to 1 to, 8 in a week. But anyways, what it looks like now is I'm really getting out of the headspace of the hustler and doing the CEO thing. And it's been like a long transition. Ken Clothier has helped me.
So it doesn't happen overnight.
No chance.
Yep.
Because look, the hustler gets you where you want to go. Right?
Yeah.
The hustler gets you money in your account. The hustler gets you properties. The hustler gets you to like 1 or 2 team members. But if you want to be the CEO that like completes the vision, you got to like really start changing. So I'm working on that every day. But how it looks like now, you got me as a CEO. I don't have a COO anymore. So right now I'm kind of like CEO running everything.
Gotcha.
Then I'm the sales manager right now. And then we have our sales team. We have 2 closers. We have 6 junior reps or follow-up specialists.
Gotcha.
We have 1 dispositions. We have 1 operations team in the Philippines. We have a personal assistant. And then we have I think that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is for the wholesale team. And then, yeah, that's the wholesale team. I'm in here every day. You know, we have a pretty interesting schedule. We work some days from 1 to 8 p.m.
Love that.
Some days we work at 9 in the morning. Some days we work from home. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
But I'm running sales meetings every day. I'm doing one-on-ones with people. Like, I'm really involved in the shit.
Yeah.
Then also, I have 2 spin-off businesses, or really like 3. I have the fix and flip business.
Yeah.
I have a long-term rental business and a short-term rental business. And then I also have the education business, which I'm not really doing so much right now, but that's kind of like my world, man. And I run all these companies, and but this is my baby. The wholesale stuff is like where I spend 80% of my time or more. And yeah, that's where I'm at today, man. Good team. Everyone. I love to work with everybody. You know, and if there gets to a point that I don't like to work with somebody, I just let them go. I have like less tolerance.
Love that.
I guess once you kind of go on for a little bit, but it's been a fun ride, man. I really enjoy coming in and doing this stuff and learning and coaching the team and hearing their feedback and learning. Shit, how did we get that deal? Wow, it's crazy. Damn, we got how many? But how did you do that? Like, damn, I didn't even know you could do that. You know, like I'm learning. It's just fun, man. Like for me, I find the joy in the same business I've been doing for 10 years. I don't know. It's so weird. Like I've had many opportunities, shiny objects, and but I love it here. I don't know what to say. You know,
Love that. So are you guys doing state of Florida? Are you guys nationwide? Like, what markets are you guys in right now?
So we're based like 90% of our deals are in Florida.
90% here in
Yeah,
Florida.
but since for like 2 years we marketed nationwide, so a lot of our follow-up deals are from all over.
That are still in the CRM.
Yeah, they're still in the CRM, so we're still doing them. But like 90%, 95% of our marketing right now is all Florida, basically.
Gotcha. What are your main marketing channels right now, by the way?
We use texting. Texting is one of our main ones, and Google Ads.
Texting and PPC?
Yeah, we started doing some Facebook, and that's about it. In-house, we do some cold calling in here. Like some of the guys will spend a couple hours a week cold calling our list, but texting, Google Ads, Facebook, that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. Man, like as far as, I'm sure you got a huge database of stuff just sitting in the CRM. I bet about how many records of leads do you have in the CRM that the guys or anybody coming in could just go in and find
Oh
gems?
man,
in
a
there?
lot. Like, Wayne, how many do we got in like, probably like, in the database we have like, in the database we have like 9,000, right? 8,000?
9.
In the date,
These, yeah. And
old, like,
leads could be another 5 or so.
Yeah.
Like total,
like people who've called into our system, like people who are interested in selling.
Raise
but-
their hand at one point.
Yeah,
right?
raise their hand. I would say maybe between leads and old opportunities, maybe like 15,000-ish, 14,000. But then like lists that we have skip trace, oof, probably 2 million.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
A lot
millions.
of records, man.
But like in our database that they said, yes, I'm interested in selling. Maybe we didn't get them on the phone. Maybe we didn't close the deal. And they're just sitting in there, you know, thousands, 10, 15,000. I'd say, so.
Strong.
Which
Okay.
is good. Once you build that up, every year, like last year we did like about $300,000 worth of revenue just on old leads.
Wow, 300K just
Yeah.
on following up from the old database.
Yeah.
And that's the powerful thing about real estate, right? Because a lot of people think real estate is just, hey, the $1 million listings, that, hey, be a traditional realtor and agent. But there's so many different verticals within that world. That's just the retail side. On the investment side, you can do wholesaling, fix and flips, buy and hold, short-term rentals, multifamily, commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of different stuff, so you can really get bogged down with that. But, you know, I love that journey of the real estate entrepreneur, of mastering one. And like you said, you've evolved to build a few other businesses to complement what you're doing with the wholesale operation. So I love that. And just really quick, man, at a high level, you know, in 2023, you know, kind of what are you guys, about how many deals are you guys doing monthly? Kind of, you know, what does revenue look like in 2022 and what are you guys pushing for in 2023? You know, talk to some numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
People that's listening.
Look, I'm a big P&L guy. I love P&L. So like, I remember a while ago, I don't remember who it was. Some guy was talking smack about me and a bunch of other guys, and no one knew who this person was. And I remember DMing him. I'm like, let's put our P&Ls,
Let's go.
on Instagram, and let's do it live and let's compare, you know. And I never heard back from him again. But anyway, so I think it's really important once you start getting to COO level, even if you're a one-man show, to really track the numbers.
Okay.
So on the wholesale side, we'll do about 500K every quarter. So that's 2 million a year, right? 2 million a year.
Beautiful.
And then my flips, but I think we'll get to 2023. we're projecting to do about 2.3 million in wholesale. That's like
Just in
where our marketing and our sales are trending.
Wow.
2.3 just wholesale.
What size team, roughly?
Our team is total team.
Yeah.
Yeah, total team, 10 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
10
Okay.
people. So we should do about 2.3, maybe 2.4 if we do good, just on the wholesale side.
Okay.
And then flips, we do anywhere between 500 to 600,000 a year on flips.
About how many flips a year?
Last
That's a little bit less volume.
Yeah, last year we did 10.
Beautiful.
This year I'm trying to only do flips if they net me about 100. That's like where I'm getting at.
Everybody's getting a lot more picky with
Yeah.
fix and flips, right?
So-
Triple digit flips only.
I'm gonna try to do 500 to 600K this year with just like 6 to 7 flips. That's gonna be my goal. I already have 2 that we're working on, but so yeah, about 3 million I would say, and then that doesn't include the short-term and long-term rentals or the education stuff, but just on the wholesale and flip side, and then yeah, my rentals will do probably about 25 to 30 grand a month between short-term and
Cash flow?
cash flow.
Man,
And then you got some education stuff, and sometimes I'll get paid to speak here or there. Little bullshit things, nothing crazy, but that's pretty much the world.
man, that gets me excited, bro. That gets me really excited on the power of what's possible, the money that you can make in this industry. What I wanted to just ask you really quick, any recommendations for, the guy that's just doing one thing right now? Because I love the progression of a real estate entrepreneur, because, wholesaling is an ATM machine. You have the ability to close a deal and make 10,000 to 100,000 on one deal, flipping a contract. But talk to us just very briefly about the importance of looking beyond that active income and wanting to actually start acquiring assets and building wealth through the buy and hold, which is separate from the wholesaling and fix and flips kind of active income. Just talk to us about the mentality behind that and why it is important to go ahead and start thinking early on in the journey to, get into the acquiring assets.
It's so nice. I mean, it's just nice. Like, it's just nice to have assets because, how can I put it? But I guess the way I think about it, the what has helped me keep coming back into wholesaling, 10 years after doing the same shit, right? I wake up every day knowing that at the end of the day, I can put a property under contract that can net me $1,000 a month, or I can put a property under contract that can give me 200K in equity. Like, that's what keeps me coming back. I just closed on a property that, just from buying it, it's increased my net worth over 150K, so
Just that one asset.
just one asset. And I woke up that day, I didn't have that under contract.
Yeah.
I went to sleep that day, my wholesale company got under contract.
Yep.
Now I bought it. And
You picked the deal.
so it kind of that keeps me going so much. I'm glad you asked that question, because I think if you're just starting out, maybe you don't have any deals, maybe you're just getting your first, maybe you're doing wholesale, maybe you're an agent, whatever. You really have to internalize what one deal can do for you. It can be a small little apartment that my first ever rental was a $61,000 apartment in Hialeah.
Wow.
That made me
Sure, that's a
hundreds of thousands of dollars, because I refinanced it twice. Then I ended up selling, and then I ended up paying it off. And then I ended up selling it on owner financing. I collected payments. Then the guy paid me off at a multiple. So that little 60K apartment made me probably 400K.
It's infinite return.
So what I'm saying is, if you really put that in your head, oh shit, any little deal that I get from my real estate thing, operation, business, can make me hundreds of thousands. Just one little 60K apartment. My second rental was a $47,000 house that I bought in kind of like the hood in Miami, right? Back then, now it's worth 300 or something like that. And that little thing I've refinanced twice also. That little 47K property has made me probably 300 grand. So me knowing that, and now maybe you didn't know, maybe you just learned this from me, maybe you just learned it from Corey, or you learned it. Now that you know, that should keep you going. You wake up today with no deal. You go to sleep with a deal that can make you 300 grand in the span of 7 to 10 years. Get 10 of those. It's $3 million. It's a good day. It's a good year. How many people make that much money? So that's what keeps me going, man. And, I always kind of had that in the top of my mind. I can wake up with no deal, and I can go to sleep with a deal under contract or bought that has, equity and can pay me hundreds of thousands in the years to come. So that's what keeps me going.
No, I love that, man. And so that's the value, man, of getting good at direct to seller off market, building a team, the right marketing, is that you can put yourself in a position to make the decision. Do you want to make the quick revenue up front, selling the deal to an end buyer? Or do you want to take it down and hold it and make those types of returns over time? And I think really that's the best strategy for anybody watching, is that if you come across a really good deal with a lot of meat on the bone, contact Raul, contact me, contact anybody that's in your sphere and figure out how to take down the deal, get access to the funding. There's always a way. Money's always going to flow to the right deal. An example, right? Say a hot PPC comes in. What's that cycle from contract to close versus the cycle of contract to close from like a reviving an old lead that once raised their hand? That's,
for PPC, I would say it's an average of like between the day that it comes in to 6 days. So from 0 to 6 days, we should be getting that contract on PPC. 1 out of 15-ish.
Okay.
And then for text, it takes about 6 to 14 days, I'd say.
Okay.
To get a lead comes in, it takes anywhere between 6 to 14 days to get a good lead under contract.
Strong, man.
Yeah.
Strong.
And then after that, it takes about 31 days on average to close it, get the money in the bank.
Love that. Okay. And what's the average wholesale assignment fee for you guys right now in 2023?
So this quarter, we're at 20.5K.
Okay.
Last quarter, we're at 14K.
Okay.
So we've bumped up a lot this quarter. So I'd say on average, maybe 16, 17 grand.
Man, that's a good.
That's if you blend those two.
spread. Okay.
Our goal is to get to 20 and above. So
Love that.
we're going to hit that this quarter. So now we got to just keep that up.
Man, last but not least, what the people want to listen, what I wanted to ask you, right? Kind of bonus round question. I know we're going a little bit over on time here, but there's a lot of value, man. I've really enjoyed this. I should have started the interview with this. Raul Bolufe, the most viral real estate investor in Miami, in the state of Florida,
No way.
probably in the country. Dude, we got to talk about the viral moment, bro.
Yeah.
How many views have you gotten on that?
Shit.
And tell the people a little bit about how that even happened, how you went viral. Was that planned, or did that just kind of, you hit the algorithm? Dude, we got to talk about that for a little bit.
Completely unplanned. I've been like, recording some videos kind of like as a hobby. I started as like my own little diary. Like I went to record. Anyways, so I've been recording videos for a while. And then, if you look back on my YouTube channel, I never delete anything. So if you look back on my YouTube channel like 4 or 5 years ago, you'll see I have like calls, like hiring people. I have calls with sellers. I have calls with buyers. But for the first time I did a tenant call. I called the tenant, and the tenant, I was raising the rent. It was like an unfortunate situation for the tenant. I bought the property anyways. So I had to raise the rent like $1,000 or double, right? Which is annoying, but I had to do what I had to do. And the tenant, kind of flipped on me. We recorded it, and it just went bananas, like crazy. And I think like right away it picked up, and I got like, man, I want to say I got like 1 million views in like, I don't know, less than 3 days. Like it was a lot. So, and then that video got like 5 or maybe 6 million views. I haven't checked it a little bit, but maybe 5 or 6 million views that video. And then, I made videos calling the tenant back and kind of going through
part
the series.
1, 2, 3, 4, and everything. Yeah.
So probably the whole series between TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, over 10 million views. I don't know how much, but like way over 10 million views. And it was interesting for sure. It got me a lot of hate and stuff, but
Gotcha.
it was interesting. It's definitely interesting.
Love that, man.
Yeah.
Man, I love that. Man, Raul, it's been a pleasure today, brother. And, thank you for sharing with the Come Up story. That's what it's about. We're here to bring you inspiration from other high-level entrepreneurs like Raul in the space here in South Florida and across the country. So, the goal is just to pick up one gem from today's podcast and implement, and keep it simple. Get around the right mentor, get around the right people, and take action and get committed. And man, I got something for you, bro. So, this is episode 001 of the Come Up story.
Okay.
So,
It's good, man. Things go full circle.
I hope the people listening stay till the end, man. This is an introductory episode, and this is where we're at right here. Let me just go ahead and put it, bro. Episode 001.
Let's go.
Hashtag the Come Up story. You know how we do it, bro. Johnny Walker Blue Labels for the closing. So from me to you, my guy.
I love it, man. I appreciate that, man. Pretty awesome to see you go full circle, man. When we, met a long time ago and worked together. I think we got you got your first deal together with me, or one of your first deals, you know? And
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting
absolutely.
story. Actually, it's on my YouTube, so you guys can watch them. Check out Corey's first story, but been pretty cool to see your journey.
I appreciate it, bro. And so, that's the mission, man. Go from a 6-figure young hustler to a 7-figure CEO and entrepreneur. So that's where we're at, the come up story. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the notifications, follow the IG at the Corey Guzman, the YouTube channel, we're building it out at _ the come up story. Last but not least, where can they find you on social media?
RaulBolufe.com, and then my name, Raul Bolufe, on all the socials. I think on TikTok it's The Real Raul Bolufe, but besides that, just my name.
Boom, there you have it.